Good morning, everyone. I want to speak to you today about something that affects every human being on this planet, something we all feel but rarely understand fully. That feeling of energy, fire, and determination that propels you to start something new, chase a dream, or push beyond your limits. That is motivation. It is the spark that gets you moving. But what happens when that spark fades? What happens when the energy that once fueled your actions disappears and leaves you staring at your goals, wondering if it was all worth it? The truth is, when motivation stops, everything changes, and unless you understand those changes, they can define the path of your life. The first thing that changes is your productivity. Motivation gives you a burst of energy, a surge of action that makes tasks seem easier, goals seem closer, and challenges seem smaller. You wake up excited to conquer your day, and even the most daunting tasks feel possible. But the moment that energy diminishes, suddenly the same tasks feel heavy. The work that once seemed effortless now feels overwhelming, and the excuses begin to pile up like bricks blocking your path. You may tell yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," or "It's okay if I skip today." But what you don't realize is that tomorrow is built from today, and skipping today erodes the foundation of your dreams. Think about people who start fitness journeys or businesses with excitement. They wake up eager, full of commitment, until one day the excitement wanes. Skipping a workout, postponing a project, or ignoring a crucial step feels justified, but it is the beginning of decline. The key lesson is this: motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you moving. Habits, routines, and a commitment to consistency are far more powerful than any burst of energy. The moment you rely solely on motivation, you surrender your progress to the whims of emotion. Productivity does not have to die when motivation leaves if you have built systems that carry you forward even when you do not feel like moving. The second change when motivation stops is that your vision begins to blur. Motivation connects you to your purpose. It reminds you why you started, why your dream matters, and why the struggle is worth it. When that connection weakens, your vision becomes clouded. Doubts begin to creep in. You start questioning yourself, questioning your goals, and questioning whether you are capable of achieving what you set out to do. Think about Thomas Edison. Imagine the thousands of times he must have felt demotivated while inventing the light bulb, failing repeatedly, facing disappointment after disappointment. If he had relied on daily bursts of motivation, he would have given up long before the world was illuminated by his invention. But his vision was clear, and it carried him through every trial and every setback. When motivation fades, you must hold on to your vision even tighter. You must reconnect with your purpose, remind yourself of the bigger picture, and let your goals guide you rather than your feelings. A blurred vision leads to stagnation, but a clear vision provides direction when motivation is no longer present. Finally, when motivation stops, emotional resilience weakens. Motivation is not just a surge of energy, it is hope, courage, and confidence rolled into action. When it disappears, challenges feel heavier, setbacks feel devastating, and criticism stings sharper. But those who endure, who achieve greatness, do not wait for motivation to return. Athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders face days when they are tired, when they feel defeated, when giving up seems easier than pushing through. But emotional resilience allows them to rise anyway. It is built through practice, through facing difficulties and refusing to quit, and through developing a mindset that does not depend on feeling motivated to act. It is the inner strength that carries you forward when everything outside and inside tells you to stop. Motivation is fleeting, but your resilience, your commitment to yourself, and your determination to overcome are lasting. The stopping of motivation is not the end. It is an invitation to rise beyond your feelings, to strengthen your habits, to sharpen your vision, and to build your inner power. Motivation is temporary, but your purpose, your discipline, and your determination can last a lifetime. Great achievements are rarely born from motivation alone. They are born from the person you become when motivation leaves, from the strength you summon when your energy fades, and from the choices you make when everything inside tells you to quit. The question you must ask yourself is, will you wait for motivation to return, or will you rise and act anyway, using the systems, vision, and resilience you have built? When motivation stops, that is the moment you discover who you truly are, and that discovery, my friends, is unstoppable. Good morning, everyone. I want to speak to you about a truth that too many of us ignore until it is almost too late. Life is full of moments when we feel unstoppable, when we are driven by a fire that pushes us to take action, to dream bigger, and to reach higher. That fire is motivation, and when it is alive, it makes the impossible seem possible. But what happens when that fire dies down? What happens when you wake up one day and you feel nothing, when the excitement is gone and the energy that once carried you seems to have vanished? The reality is, when motivation stops, the world does not pause. Life continues, opportunities continue, and those who rely solely on motivation are left behind, struggling to move forward. When motivation fades, the first thing that changes is your focus. Motivation sharpens your mind. It connects your thoughts to action, your plans to your purpose, your dreams to your steps. When it disappears, focus becomes scattered. Tasks that once demanded your attention are ignored. Goals that once seemed urgent now feel distant and unattainable. You may find yourself procrastinating, distracting yourself with things that do not matter, convincing yourself that you will return to your mission tomorrow. But tomorrow is a dangerous promise because it is built on the hope that motivation will return, and hope alone is never enough to sustain progress. Consider the story of J.K. Rowling. She faced repeated rejections from publishers, countless days when motivation was gone, and her dream of seeing Harry Potter in the hands of readers everywhere seemed impossible. Yet she did not wait for motivation to return. She wrote every day, one word at a time, guided by focus and determination. Focus does not rely on motivation, it relies on commitment, on clarity, and on the courage to keep moving when nothing inside tells you to act. The second change when motivation stops is that fear begins to grow. Motivation fuels courage. It gives you the strength to face challenges, to speak up, to take risks. When that fuel is gone, fear rises to the surface. Suddenly, the things you wanted to do, the opportunities you once chased, feel too dangerous, too difficult, or too risky. Fear convinces you that staying where you are is safer, that avoiding discomfort is the wiser choice. But fear is a liar. It tells you that protecting yourself is progress, when in reality it is stagnation. Look at the lives of those who have achieved greatness. Every person who has left a legacy has faced fear without waiting to feel motivated. They understood that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. When motivation leaves, you must fight fear with discipline, with vision, and with the resolve to do what must be done, even if your heart is trembling. Fear will only dominate when you allow the temporary absence of motivation to control your actions. Finally, when motivation stops, your belief in yourself begins to weaken. Motivation gives you confidence. It makes you believe that you can achieve what you set out to do. When it disappears, doubt moves in. You start questioning your abilities, questioning your dreams, questioning your value. But here is the truth. Belief is stronger than motivation. Motivation can inspire you for a moment, but belief carries you through a lifetime. Nelson Mandela spent decades in prison, a place where motivation could easily die. Every day he faced hopelessness, injustice, and despair. But his belief in the cause, his belief in the future he envisioned for his country, carried him forward. Belief does not depend on emotion, it depends on conviction. When motivation stops, you must rely on your belief in yourself, in your purpose, and in the vision you are working to create. That belief will keep you standing, keep you moving, and keep you reaching long after motivation has disappeared. When motivation leaves, your focus is tested, your courage is challenged, and your belief is measured. But it is also an opportunity, a chance to discover strength you did not know existed, a chance to rise above temporary feelings, and a chance to become the person capable of achieving greatness regardless of circumstances. Motivation is fleeting, but focus, courage, and belief are lasting. Life will not wait for you to feel inspired, it will continue to demand action. The people who achieve their dreams are not those who wait for motivation to return. They are the ones who act despite fatigue, who persist despite fear, who believe when everything around them tells them to doubt. When motivation stops, that is when you discover your true power, the power to rise, to continue, and to win, not because you feel like it, but because you refuse to stop. Good morning, everyone. Today I want to speak to you about something that can either make or break your life, something that affects every dream, every goal, and every relationship you have. That something is motivation. Motivation is the spark that makes us move, the force that makes us chase what we desire, the fire that makes us believe that we can do the impossible. But motivation is not permanent. It comes and goes like the waves of the ocean. And when it leaves, when that energy fades and the excitement disappears, everything changes. The question is, will you allow that change to defeat you, or will you rise above it and discover a deeper power inside yourself that never leaves? The first thing that changes when motivation stops is your consistency. Motivation is what gives you momentum. It makes you feel like you can conquer the world today, that nothing can stop you. But the moment it disappears, that momentum slows down. You start missing deadlines, skipping tasks, and delaying action. You tell yourself, I'll pick it up tomorrow, or I'll do it when I feel ready. But tomorrow is built on today, and procrastination becomes a habit if allowed to continue. Look at successful entrepreneurs. Many of them started with excitement, with passion, but what carried them through the long nights, the setbacks, and the failures was not motivation. It was consistency. Consistency is acting even when you do not feel like it. It is moving forward when inspiration is gone. Consistency is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. When motivation stops, consistency becomes your greatest ally. because it ensures that your efforts continue even when your feelings do not. The second thing that changes when motivation stops is your attitude toward challenges. Motivation makes obstacles seem smaller. When you are motivated, setbacks feel temporary, failures feel like lessons, and difficulties feel like opportunities to grow. But when that energy fades, challenges seem insurmountable. Every obstacle becomes a mountain, and every failure becomes a reflection of your limitations. Yet those who succeed do not wait for motivation to face challenges. They face them anyway. Look at Helen Keller. She faced blindness and deafness in a world that offered very few opportunities for people like her. There were days she must have felt hopeless, days when motivation would have been impossible to find. Yet she persisted. She learned, she grew, and she achieved greatness not because she was motivated every day, but because she refused to be defeated. Challenges are not overcome by feeling motivated. They are overcome by determination, perseverance, and the refusal to quit. When motivation leaves, you must rise to the occasion, knowing that the true measure of success is not in the feelings you have, but in the actions you take despite those feelings. The third thing that changes when motivation stops is your self-belief. Motivation gives you confidence. It makes you feel capable of anything. It whispers to your heart that you are enough, that your dreams are valid, that you can make a difference. But when it leaves, self-doubt can take over. You begin to question yourself, your purpose, and your ability to succeed. This is the moment when most people give up. But those who achieve greatness know that belief is not dependent on feeling motivated. Belief is stronger than motivation because it is rooted in purpose, in understanding why you exist, and in knowing what you are meant to do. Consider Nelson Mandela, who spent decades in prison under conditions designed to break his spirit. Every day motivation could have disappeared, and every day it might have been hard to keep going. But his belief in justice, his belief in freedom, and his belief in the future carried him through. Belief does not rely on emotion, it relies on conviction, on understanding your purpose, and on committing to it no matter the circumstances. When motivation stops, your consistency is tested, your attitude toward challenges is exposed, and your self-belief is measured. But it is in this very moment, in the absence of motivation, that true character is revealed. Motivation may be temporary, but the systems you create, the discipline you practice, the vision you hold, and the belief you nurture can last a lifetime. The greatest achievements in life are not created by those who wait to feel motivated. They are created by those who act despite exhaustion, who persevere despite difficulty, and who believe when everything around them says to doubt. The stopping of motivation is not the end, it is the beginning of a deeper discovery. It is the moment when you learn that the real power to succeed has always been within you, and it is unstoppable, unwavering, and eternal.